Joining me today is Roger Morris, owner of the Crewe Honda Centre. Roger, welcome.
Hello, Ruth. Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure. It's lovely to speak to you. Now, you told me the other day that on the 27th of May, the shop had been there for 101 years. I mean, that's some feat, Roger. Not just with you, obviously.
Not Noel. You not just with me. No, I am the fourth generation of the Morris family to be in West Street on that very site. So it's nice that the 27th of May 1920 is when we were first established with my great granddad, and it's gone through the family, and I'm the fourth generation.
And it was bicycles, and then it moved on to motorbikes.
Yes, it started with bicycles, and once motorbikes became the in thing, and they progressed. They took on the British motorcycles at the start, and it kind of progressed from there as the BSAs and the Nortons and all the different British manufacturers were going. They had the foresight to take it on and go with it.
And what is it about motorbikes that fires your passion?
Well, I've always been around motorbikes. Obviously, with my father, who was there 50 years, 50 years plus. It was from an early age. I've been kind of around motorbikes, and it's just a passion I've got for them, and I like two wheels. I like motorbikes. I like the people that like them, and I like dealing with the motorcycle community, as it were. So I do enjoy it.
How old were you when you got your first bike?
Well, when I was first on the road, I was 16. But I had bikes that we used to ride around the garden when I was about 6 or 7, and we had these little motorbikes that my dad brought home, and we were racing around the garden on them, and it was happy days, and it progressed from there. But yeah, we've as I say, we've always been into bikes, and of course I've always been into Honda, so it's a good combination.
Why Honda in particular over all the other makes?
Well, when I started in the business, or when I was a young man, we used to have Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki. So we had the three, but of course you had the good models in all the different manufacturers. So you kind of just picked the sellers in each particular manufacturer. But it came to the point where you had to really make a choice, and if you looked at the statistics of it, Honda sold more bikes than anybody else.
Right.
They are the market leader. So we kind of I kind of made the decision to stick with Honda.
So it's a purely commercial decision. They sell the more bikes, they make the most bikes.
Yes, they well, as I say, they are the market leader. The market leader, not just in this country, but a lot of countries, and they're the biggest producer of engines in the world, I believe. Like the small engines. The range of bikes that they produce is exceptional, and there's something for everybody. When I was a young man, when I was 16, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to be around motorbikes. I wanted to work with my father, and I could see that Honda was the one to go with, and that's why I pushed when it became my decision to do that. That I pushed to go with Honda, and I used to go on to a lot of training courses, and they were just the right attitude and the right people to deal with, and it was just a more professional outfit,
Right. And so what was your first bike that you rode on the road then?
Oh, the first bike I had when I was 16, believe it or not, it was a Honda.
I know that.
I always remember it. It was a little Honda MT5, and it was an orange bike, an orange with yellow number plates, number side numbers on it, and I had that when I was 16, and I was doing 30 miles an hour, and you thought, crikey, 30 miles an hour is very fast, but realise that, you know, it's you think that's fast when you're 16, but you know, it was happy days. You know, it was the first bike and your first bit of freedom on two wheels, and you know, it was good times. Yeah.
And so, what did you progress to?
Well, I progressed to I think I had a Yamaha next, actually, because we were still
Yamaha.
So I remember I was only talking about it today, actually, with a chap that came in, and I said, "Oh, I had a TZR 125," and I remember the time when one of the reps that had called on us for over 50 years, and I was just taking my test that day, and I was just taking my L plates off, which was a good job. I passed my test the first time, so we were
well done.
Of course, I've had Honda since then, of course.
Nothing else since, only Honda.
No, only Honda. Yeah.
Very loyal, Roger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you ride now?
Well, I've got a particular passion for one particular model, which is the CBR 1100XX, the Super Blackbird, and I think it's the best model they've ever produced. They produced them for over 10 years, and they never really changed the shape or the style of them. They couldn't improve it. The shape, it still looks modern now, and you know, even today, if you bring that bike out, people go, "Wow, that's such a nice looking modern bike," and it's you know, it's 20 years old now nearly, so it's, you know, it's a real nice bike, and I think that's the best one they've ever made. So that's what I ride at the moment, if I do ride.
Do you not ride very often?
Not very often, no.
You're too busy in the shop.
Too busy, yes. It's yeah, it's too busy, but you know, I do like a nice ride out now and again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's important, isn't it? And it just kind of takes your mind off of everything, because you know, it gives you the freedom of being on the road, I suppose.
Well, it gives you a lot of time to think. And I always think, well, you know, if I need to clear my mind, I can go for a ride on the bike and I can think, and there's, you know, and you think, and I know you're concentrating on the road, but it gives you time to think and clear your head and clear your mind, and yeah, it's good for that. And you know, it's a nice trip out. It's always good. Yeah,
well, we were watching Charlie and Ewan, you know, doing their long way up and long way down series, and their last one that they did, going up through Southern America, up to where did they end? In San Francisco. And Ewan was saying that he doesn't get on his bike often enough, and he loves it because it's his form of meditation, of just kind of getting away from everything that's going on in his life.
Yeah, I could quite understand that, because even though you've got to concentrate a lot, you know, you do get time to think, and you know, whether you're thinking at home, whether you're thinking good things or bad things, it's you know, it's a bit of a relaxing way if you're a nice, you know, fluent kind of rider, and you can, you know, just potter along, and it gives you a good time to think. And yeah, I like doing that every now and again.
Yeah, Drew loves getting out. Drew's favourite bike is the 404.
Oh yes.
Yes, you've got one.
I've got one of those. Yes. Yeah.
That you own. That's your personal in your personal collection.
And yes. Yeah, my
dad. Be down to see it.
Yeah. My father liked that. My dad liked that one. It was a nice, very compact 4-cylinder bike, and he was particularly fond of that one. I think it was the last bike he rode, actually.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Nice. So is there any kind of ultimate favourite for you, even if it's not a Honda?
Oh, not really. No. It's I think it's got to be a Honda. I'd like there's one particular bike I like, an RC30. That was kind of the racing bike from the 80s. And when I was doing my training at Honda, that was the bike that the race team were preparing at the next, you know, there was the training school, and then there was the race team, and we used to watch them preparing these bikes for the superbike riders. And
okay.
That brings back you know, memories of yesteryear, should we say, in the late 80s and 90s. And yes, one day I'll perhaps find myself one of those. The other one, of course, is a Vincent Black Shadow. I've always promised myself one of those, but they're now hundreds of thousands, so I don't think I'll be buying one of those.
Oh right, okay. Quite an investment then.
They are, yes. You wouldn't dare ride it. So
when you were doing your training days, or when you do your training days, do you get to have a go at the super bikes, or is it purely what you put in the shop?
Oh yes, you do sometimes get to have a go on them. you can. They normally have these. Depending on what bike it is, they'll have them at like a racetrack like Donington Park or.
Right.
And we go to these like demonstrator days, and they let you have a go around the track on these bikes. So you've got to be careful, of course. You don't come off them. So otherwise you'd be in for a big bill, I think. So.
Yeah, but it must be fun though to kind of get on the super bike and just go around a track.
Oh yes, it is. It's frightening. It's especially.
Is it?
Oh yes, yeah. You can soon get carried away with it, so you've got to be careful. But of course, it's where a lot of these, like the Fireblade, was the last super bike that came out. It was you've got to be on your toes, and you've got to be on your because they love to go fast, and that's the they love to go quick, and go quick they do. So you've got to be careful.
And at those days, do you meet the professional riders, and do they show you how to use the bike properly, or do you not get to see them at all?
Yes, it used to be the Ron Haslam Race School, and they take you round, and there's somebody at the front and there's somebody at the back. So you're behaving properly, and they kind of give you a bit of tuition at the same time. Take this line or take that line, or you say follow me, and we try and replicate the lines he's using, kind of thing. So it's a good bit of experience as well. Yeah.
Do you think that 16-year-old boy who sounds 30 miles an hour, quite fast, are going on the super bikes, and it must be just like, completely mind blowing?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, 30 miles an hour. I couldn't believe how fast that was at the time. Crikey, the whole world's going in between you. But it's back in the day, you think, crikey, that's fast, but don't realise that it's not that fast, really, is it? But it was a good first bike, yeah. I wish I'd still got it, really, but.
That was my next question. Do you keep your bikes?
Oh, hang on. Are you there?
I am.
Yes. Well, I've got a few bikes that I have kept over the time. So it's if I get the chance to, or I used to have a Suzuki 250, and we sold it, of course, and then I've bought one back since that's quite like it. So I always think you try and go back to your happy days kind of things when you were young, and you think I always wanted a Sinclair C5 when I was a young lad, and of course I used to look at the catalogue, and I always wanted one of those, and I never got one. So of course when you're older and you can do what you want, kind of thing, and I bought 3 of them, so I got those.
And do you use them?
Well, I use them at Christmas. I bring them out and I dress up as an elf, and I do a video on them. So.
But you don't take them out on the road and use them?
Yeah, I have been on the road, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But people don't know what they are, because a lot of people are young. They're going, "Oh, what's that, mister?"
So you have to stop and explain.
So you have to explain. They go, "Oh, crikey!" But it's a bit of fun. But that'll be good.
The bikes that you've kept then over the years, what's made you kept those in particular, and what were they?
Well, it's all that have got like a sentimental value to. I've got a lot of my father's old bikes that he had. One bike in particular that you've probably seen in the shop is that AJS. We spent 20 years restoring that. Getting all the parts together, and it's not just a case of putting it together, it's finding all the parts and getting it all together and getting things done. And we spent 20 years doing that, on and off, kind of thing. And I've got some old bikes from the 30s. I've got one that we supplied in the 30s, so as a new bike, and it's still got the sticker on the front mud guard, AR Morris. And so I have to keep all those. And then there's certain ones through the ages, like a Goldwing, the old 1100 Goldwing, and various bikes that I've kept through the time, and they're not worth a lot of money, but they're interesting, and they're interesting to me, of course, and they're part of my history as through the ages, kind of thing, which fascinates me. I like to see the progression of things, that how they would have thought of in the the 70s, 80s, 90s, to the modern day stuff now. And even though the latest bikes are out of this world and technically advanced, they're still pretty much the same as they were back in the 50s, really. So I look at bikes that are from the 1950s, and you think, well, yes, there's that, and there's that in the modern day bikes today. So it fascinates me. I enjoy the bikes. I'm not so bothered about riding them, but the technology and the way the engineering side of it fascinates me.
And what are the big changes from the 50s to now?
Well, if you look at like different suspension and different, but and of course the different motor variations and the fuel injection from the carburation and but if you look at them, I know if we were looking at a Vincent and you're looking at the rear suspension on the Vincent from the 50s, it's not really a great deal of different from the suspension of today. So, you know, they can't reinvent the wheel kind of thing.
No.
So it's all pretty much, you know, pretty much as it was, you know, even from before the 50s. But there was the girder forks, the telescopic forks, and then of course like the Honda 90 forks with the way the links are used in those. You know, it's just fascinating and interesting to see, you know, from the shaft drive on bikes to chain drives to belt drives like a scooter. You know, it's just fascinating to see all the different variations that they use, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it must be. And I can understand you keeping your bikes that have got a sentimental value, because it's a part of your history, isn't it? And
yeah,
a part of you growing up.
It is, and like I say, it's a part of history and my history and you know, my time as a motorcycle dealer and my father's time that, you know, you can't get back now. But as of course I've lost my father, so and you're clinging on to those memories through the bikes, of course, and you know, and I like that, you know, and I'd never sell them. You know, it's you know, they'll kind of go with me to the end kind of thing. But you know, I could never part with them, even if as long as they're there, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And how's the business changed through the years? You know, kind of your customers are they getting younger, or is it a same age group coming back over and over again?
Well, if I look at my time when I kind of took over, say, you know, in like 99, 2000, when my father said to me, "Look, I've had enough now. I can't handle it anymore," which was the time when everything kind of went computerized.
Right.
That was the time that my dad said, "Look, I can't handle this, and now it's over to you." And I kind of took over, and we upped the game kind of thing, and we did a lot of changes and you know, I wanted to push the business forward. And whereas my father used to suffer with poor health kind of thing with the heart, you know, I pushed it forward, and he was just in the background kind of guiding me, you know, from home kind of thing. And he always used to say, well, it's me that's signing the checks, and you know, I was happy that he was just there, you know, having his, you know, keeping his finger on it. And but the people, there's the people that when I was, you know, in like say 2000, so like just 20 odd years ago, you know, everybody wanted kind of bigger bikes, and of course the age of people riding bikes was, you know, 40s, 45. But unfortunately now the demographics of the people with motorcycle licenses has changed. And the average age of a motorcyclist now is about 70. So of course, you know, sports bikes they can't get on. So they're either having, you know, adventure bikes where they sat upright and they can handle it, so they're not you know, leaning forward. Or they're on, you know, like naked bikes, which is like the sit up and beg bikes, or they're on scooters, or they have like you know, a scooter for commuting on, or a small little motorbike. So whereas 20 years ago I was selling nothing but sports bikes, nowadays it's more 125s, commuters, 500s, and then we've got like the bigger adventure bikes that people are buying that want to do like like what you were watching on the long way round and the long way down. They were like on, you know, adventure bikes, and you know, some like doing that, and you know, they like doing big mileage, and but there's not so many nowadays, and especially with what's happened recently, a lot of people want to commute themselves, so they don't want to get on a train, and they don't want to they're thinking, oh right, well I'm only going Crewe to Nantwich, or I'm going, Crewe to Sandbach, or they're doing 5 or 10 miles each, each way kind of thing. And I think the feeling is they'd rather have 2 wheels, be independent, and they're not getting on a bus and who knows.
Mixing with lots of
Yeah,
people that might be full of germs.
yeah.
Yeah. And also, I suppose the running costs are cheaper to have a bike than a car, or public transport even. Yeah,
I mean the scooters nowadays, they're doing 150 miles to the gallon, so it's very economical, and they're really good, compared to we haven't got electric yet, but I'm sure it's coming, of course. But when they're doing 150 to the gallon, it's exceptional, I think. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was my next question actually about electric. Is what are Honda's plans for electric bikes, if any?
Yeah, I'm sure they've. I know that they've got like a PCX 125. I know they've got a scooter that they've got in Europe, but of course it's I think it's 3 times the price of it's about £10,000, where they're or it's just under, whereas the petrol equivalent here is just over £3,000. So it's quite a big difference. And of course, when it's doing 150 to the gallon, you'd have to be. But I'm sure they will have something. I know that they've got things in the pipeline, and of course the commuting and the plugging in will be ideal. You 3-pin plug, and you'll charge it overnight, and you'll probably get hundreds of miles out of it. So I know it's going to come, and exciting times. Something different, and hopefully it will create a lot more interest. With something new, electric bike, and I know there's electric, cycles you can get in these scooters, but to be a proper scooter, I was watching the motorbike show last night, and he was on an electric bike. I won't mention what make it was, of course, but
not Honda then.
Began with A, but and that was fascinating, and he really enjoyed it. So it was, it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we watched this with Charlie and Ewan going from South America, they'd got electric bikes, and were trying them out for the first time. And of course, they were coming through kind of countries where there weren't lots of electric points, and the company was rushing ahead, putting points in for them. But the electricity wasn't, as stable as in America or here, and so they were struggling. They weren't always powering up first time, and they were just struggling to do that. At least we don't have that here. But the government's telling us with cars they can't have diesel cars produced after a certain date here. Is that coming with the bikes? Because I've not been across that.
I've not heard that with the bikes yet, but obviously we've got just petrol petrol engines, but it will come. It's definitely coming, and there'll be a time when the internal combustion engine is no more, perhaps. But I think it's quite a way off just yet. But it's definitely coming. I mean, Honda at the forefront, of innovation, should we say? And I know that they're completely behind becoming an all hybrid, like a battery firm, in the very near future.
Right. Well, that'll be interesting to see what they do then.
Yeah, it will. Very interesting.
And how it goes down as well. How popular it is.
Yeah.
So what's your ultimate then? Is it to, at some point to retire and to travel the world on a bike, or?
Thank you. Well, I've when I started, when I left school in 1988, and I started, working for my father, and I've never stopped since, to be quite honest, because I don't have holidays. I don't have any time off. I like a break at Christmas, and have a week at Christmas, and that's my only break. And I enjoy that. I enjoy work. If I hadn't got work, and I hadn't got the shop, I would be lost, really. So
right.
It's I don't want to retire anytime soon, because I just love it too much, and I like being where I am. I like the history of it. I like everything about it. And if I couldn't, if it came one day that you know, I got up and I couldn't go down to West Street where I've been going all my life. Don't know quite how I'd cope with that. You know, it would be a big shock to me. You know, I touched on when I lost my father, you know, in 2017, and I always remember that I one day I knew that I would have to go to work, and I have to go, and I was on my own, and I thought, I hope that day never comes, but of course that day is always going to come, and it did come for me at a time, and you know, it was quite a hard time for me, that was. But you know, it's I want to carry it on, and my father was desperate to see the 100 years established. He didn't just quite see it; he missed it by 3 years. But you know, I was delighted that, you know, I can carry on, and I want to carry it on and on. And I'm 60 years with Honda this year, because we were one of the first dealers in the country, and that means an awful lot to me. So, you know, I've been there over 30 years, so I think, well, I've done half of those. So I'm looking forward to you know, 22 when we're 60 years with Honda, and that's a big feat for me. But you know, I'll have to retire at one day, and I've got nobody to leave the business to. So I suppose one day I will have to close the door for the last time, but I don't know how I'm going to cope with that. So
maybe not, Roger. You know, I think it's lovely that you kind of have so much love for the business.
Yeah.
That for you, it's not just your life, but it almost is a holiday as well, because you enjoy it that much.
Yes, yeah, I do. It's you know, everybody says, well, how can you cope going there day in, day out, day in? I said, well, it's my life. You know, you can't get away from your life, and that was the life I've chosen. You know, I've got friends that go on, you know, holiday, and you know, every 5 minutes, but that's not for me. I just like going to work and dealing with people, and you know, that's my life. So you know, it's not for everybody, but and of course, when I got married on a Wednesday when we were closed. Work on a Thursday.
Roger, you didn't. And you have at least gone on like a Sunday, Monday bank holiday, so you got 2 days.
Well, might do, yes, might do, yeah.
So have you got big celebrations planned with Honda for the 60th?
Well, hopefully we wanted to do a big celebration for the 100 years back, you know, in 2020, but of course we couldn't do that. So when everything's back to normal, I'm hoping for a big celebration, because I'll be 50 next year on the 6th of Jan. So I'm hoping it could be a bit of a celebration year, so we can have the 100 years as it was, but a couple of years late. But and my 50th, and of course 60 years with Honda. So we'll have a big celebration, I'm sure, next year, and I'm hoping things will be back to some kind of normality. I know they are kind of now, but you know, I think next year we're hopefully the right side of it.
Oh, I hope so, and I hope it's a lovely year for you next year.
Yeah,
I love coming into your shop, you know, because it's just you make it such a lovely family business to be in, and you know, there's kind of no. I think if I tried to walk into some shops that would be particularly male orientated, I would feel a bit intimidated, but you know, not at all. And I've popped in quite a few times on my own to kind of get presents or something for Drew, or you know, like the other week to bring the car in, and it's just, I feel so comfortable there, and that's, you know, because you make the place so lovely.
Oh, that's very kind.
You know, and I kind of enjoy sitting talking to Carl or whoever's in, and it's just such a lovely warm environment to be in.
Well,
and that's down to you, Roger. It's such a nice place.
Well, that's very kind. I do my best. You know, I'm always delighted to see you. You know that. I always make a fuss of you. You know that. And you know, I like you coming in, and I like Drew coming in, and you know, I like to you know, you're part of my family kind of thing. You know, you the Honda family. You know, you're part of it, and you know, if I haven't got, you know, like you and coming in, you know, it's you know, that makes it all worthwhile when I see, you know, I'm with friends, and you are my friends. You know, it's you're not just customers, you're friends, and I like having friends. You know, I like being friends with people, and I like being on first name terms. I like, it's come in, have a drink, and have a, and it's nice, and that's the kind of relaxed, friendly kind of atmosphere I like. I don't like, high pressure kind of, that's not the kind of place, I want to have. I like it as it is, and it's not high pressure sales, this, that.
No, not at all.
It's just, there it is, or whatever, or, have a drink with us and we'll have a chat, and, it's all about. And and if you've got a problem, I'll try and put your problem right. If you've got a problem with your bike, or, we can do whatever.
Or just the world in general.
Yeah, we can put the world to rights.
Yeah, we often do. So I can't let you go without talking about the vaccination centre. And for people that don't know, you very kindly gave over a third or half of the shop to having a vaccination centre. How did that come about?
Well, it's that is a good story. My best friend kind of thing, who I've known for probably all my working life, Raj Patel, who started his chemist across the road, his pharmacy. He's a good friend of mine, and we had to, for Honda standards, we were just having a bit of a tidy up in the showroom. We had to change the floor, and of course we've moved all the bikes out, and he was gearing himself up to do the COVID vaccinations. This was back in January, and we were joking about, because it was so cold in January. I said, you could store the vaccine here because it's that cold.
Yeah, people might not know you don't put the heating on.
Oh, it was that cold, so we were joking about that, and I said, you could do your vaccinations in here. I said it's big enough, and we were just joking about it, really. And but then all of a sudden he was working one Saturday when we were still doing the showroom, and he looked at it and he says, "Do you know what you said? When we were talking about the vaccinations." He says, "It's quite a good place. I could, and he was looking at it, and he said, I could come in through the back doors, and then we could have all the vaccine stations here, where all the, the pharmacists, the nurses are doing the vaccines, and then they could be, they'd be sitting down waiting once they've had the vaccine, and then they could be out straight through the front door." And I said, straight away, I said, "Look, if you want it, you can have it." And he says, "Are you joking?" And I imagined they'd just have a couple in the morning and a couple in the afternoon.
Right. It's non-stop.
So Raj, I always remember his name because it was somebody called Bruce, and I thought, oh, Bruce is a nice name. So he got onto this chap from the NHS called Bruce, and he says, "Oh, well, I know where your place is, because he'd been to Raj's pharmacy to do it, but that was up a flight of stairs, which was like, these 80-year-old plus people wouldn't get it." And he says, "Well, I'd love your building. Can we rent the building off you?" And I said, "Well, you can have the building with pleasure, but I certainly don't want any rent off you." I said, "I'll donate it to you, and I'll donate the showroom." And he went, "Well, that's absolutely marvellous." And it just went from there. Of course, we then had to get everywhere clinically clean and spotlessly, so it was quite a clean environment for them to use. When it first started, I literally thought, and he was going, "Well, we'll do like a few in the morning, a few in the afternoon." It wasn't at all. It started off when they were doing 200 a day, and we thought, crikey, that's busy. But then it went to 400 a day, and then it went to 500 a day. And then at the peak, I think they did over 700 a day. So it was an awful lot of people. I've never seen anything like it, but it was one of those split decisions, those split-second decisions, where he said to me, is it possible we could use your shop for the vaccinations? I said, "If you want it, it's yours." And I always remember it. I said, "If you want it, it was yours." They were my exact words. And of course, we've now done. In Crewe, they've done about 50,000 people now, so that's an awful lot of people have come to Cycles. Yeah. And then Raj came to me again and said, "I've got to open a place in Nantwich." And he says, do you know anywhere, you know, I could rent in Nantwich? And I said, well, I know exactly the place. I know a place, the Masonic Hall in Williston. I said, I can get you that. I'm one of the directors there. I said, I can get you that if you want, and we could have that as a vaccination centre. And we opened that in May. And again, I managed to get it, so we donated it to him and donated it to the NHS. And they've done over 10,000 people there. So it's overall, it's a brilliant story, and I'm very proud of what we've done. It's like one of these times that we're in where you know, it's like a wartime effort, kind of everybody together. And you know, I somebody says to me, he says, I can't believe that you get things done. You don't just talk about it, you get it done. So within those 10 days that we had before we opened, we got it done, and we were ready for that Saturday on, I think it was the 23rd of January. And the people started arriving, and we were just stood there, couldn't believe how many people were coming in. And gone from there. I'm sure my father's looking down and saying, well, you did the right thing there. I'm sure he's doing that.
I'm sure he is. Yeah, no, I'm sure he is. Is it right that you don't charge them rent, but everyone that comes in just has to put a deposit down on a bike?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what do they have to put down at the Masonic Lodge?
That would have been the ideal situation. I was thinking, I think we sold the balaclava. So, so I know there's 50,000 people, but it's you know, it's a very good thing we did. You know, it will. I said to somebody, I said, I probably won't be remembered for having the motorbike shop and the 100 years of trading and the 60 years with Honda. I'll probably, oh yes, it was that where there had to be COVID vaccination.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's a real good thing, and we have been on national TV. I was on Australian television. We had a live broadcast from the ITV Good Morning Britain, where Raj was interviewed. You know, it's a very special thing that we did there. But it was, as I say, I'm a member of the Freemasons, and that is all about charity. And I like to give to charity. I'd far much rather give to charity than anything. And we do a lot of charitable work. And it was that mindset that is instilled in me that said, of course you can have it, without thinking. And I believe that. You know, I'm a big believer of that. And I'm delighted that we were able to give something back to the community. You know, the community supported me over all these years of trading, and my father over all these years of trading. You know, and it's an ideal opportunity for me to give something back to the local people and the local, you know, the surrounding areas, Crewe and Nantwich, and hopefully, you know, it'll, you know, you never know. I said to somebody once on the radio, I said, you never know, it might have just saved somebody's life, and they went, without a doubt. So, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lovely thing that you've done, Roger. I mean, I couldn't believe when I came in the other week just how many people were queuing up. You know, they kind of had to part waves for me to drive through onto the car park. And it was just incredible how many people. And whilst I was there, it was just non-stop people coming in for the vaccinations. Yeah, and it's so central as well. And there's, you know, so much housing around you. It must be so, you know, so much easier for people to come there than have to traipse into town or wherever, you know, the other nearest centre would be. Yeah.
It is. It's. I believe it's like one of. I mean, it's like you say. There's a good bit of parking. It's not ideal with the circuit. It's good parking on it. And you say it's quite a good location. And it's in and out. And you know, there's no messing about. You know, it's and it's very clinical. It's very. You know, I've never once felt like I was at risk of anything. You know, of catching anything. And I believe it's, you know, it's one of the most successful pharmacy vaccination places in the Northwest. That's why Raj was asked to open another one in Nantwich when the local civic, you know, the civic closed, the Nantwich Civic Centre closed. So yeah, it's a good thing we've done, and I'm, as I say, I'm very proud of it. It's and everybody involved, you know, they've all said that's the best job I've ever had. You know. Giving, you know, it's giving back to the community and helping the local people and helping all the people. And you know, at the start, people couldn't wait to come in. You know, it's And you know, I mean, I'm a motorcycle dealer. I don't know about vaccinations, but I've become a bit of an expert on it.
Could you give them out yourself?
Well, I feel like I could. I've saying, you know, how long is it between? I said, well, I think it's 8 weeks now, and if you've had your 8 weeks, and you know, it's and you know, they've been closed today, and they've been doing training for doing the younger people, so they've and people have still been coming in, and I've been advising them, well, you have to ring this number or go to here, and you know, it's been, I was going to say it's been a bit of fun, but it's not been a fun at all. It's, you know, it's a very serious thing.
It's serious, but if you can make it a nice environment for people to come into, then all the better, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think it's one of the best, and you know, it won't last forever, so you know, I don't know how long it's going for. I know they're gearing themselves up for boosters, and
okay,
so
it'll be with you a while.
It'll be with us for a while yet. But as I said to the chap from the NHS when he said, can I have it till the end of August? I said, well, which is kind of now. And I said, yes, that's fine. You know, you can have it till then. And he said, what if it dragged on a bit? I said, look, if it drags on, it doesn't matter. You can have it for as long as you need it. I said, I can still operate, you know, as long as I can just keep Honda happy in that side that we're in, there won't be an issue. And, you know, we'll see it out to the end. And when they leave, it'll be when they say we've conducted the last vaccination that we're giving, and I'll say, right, very good, and we'll pack all the gear up, and then we'll have a big party, and we'll open back up as the bike shop, and you'll never know they've been there, I think, but I don't know when that day will be yet, though. So
no, well, let's hope it's not too far away.
Yeah. But yeah, as I say, it's been an experience, and
yeah, I bet there has.
Yeah, and I hope you know, I hope the people are pleased, you know, in Crewe and Nantwich, that we've been able to provide that. And I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are too. I'm sure. Anyway, Roger, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really interesting to talk to you about all your experiences since having the shop, and it's been great fun. Thank you very much.
You've having me on. It's been very kind. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And if you'd like to see more interviews, then please subscribe and click like as well on the interviews, and then you'll get to see more of them more quickly. And so until next time, thank you very much. Bye.